Right, today we are going to continue with question 4 on our data science question and answer series. And today's question is going to be, what is a random variable? Now, this question looks simple, but it could actually be a bit confusing somehow. It could be kind of tricky. So let's see. Let me take a pen. Close up this. Close this. Okay. So now a random variable is a variable whose values are the outputs of a random experiment. Now let's start from something we know to something we don't know. So let me take this pen. Let's take, for instance, you have a quadratic equation in this way. You have x squared plus, let's say, 3x plus 2 equals 0. So now in this equation, we have a variable called x. We have this variable x. So what it means is that x is the unknown that we are trying to find. So in this case, x represents a number that, if is added to this equation, is going to satisfy this equation. So this is the value. This is what x is. X is a variable that is an unknown value that has to be evaluated by solving this quadratic equation. Now, this is different from the concept of variable in computer. Now, in computers, variable is actually a memory location. So, memory location, that is variables in computer, or programming memory location in programming. But in this case, if you are going to talk about random variable in data science, it means that we must have random experiments. The reason is because in life, the data we are going to analyze in data science are data that comes from random experiment. For instance, talk about the heights of people. People are growing randomly. You can't really find a formula that could hold the height of people in a city. Or talk about the sizes of shoes. Although they are different sizes, but if you gather several shoes, there's no way you'll be able to know beforehand the sizes of those shoes exactly. So there must be various sizes of shoes that are randomly distributed. But the most random kind of random experiment we can talk about is, let's say, flipping a coin. So it's an experiment. You can flip a coin 100 times as an experiment. Just flip it, record it, flip it, record it. It's head or tail, flip it, record, flip it, record it. So this kind of experiment is called a random experiment. So the output or result could be either a head or a tail. Therefore, these outputs can be represented using a random variable x. And x could be either a head or a tail. So in representing random variable in data science, we say something like, if x is a random variable, then we say x could be either, so you read it, this could be either a head or a tail. So I'd like to take another example using a different color. Another random experiment is rolling a die. I think this one should be very, very easy to understand. Rolling a die. Let's call it a fair die, because sometimes it may be die that one side is actually bigger than other. So when you roll a die may be something like this. Let me see if I can still remember how to draw square. So you have something like this. Hopefully I'll draw it. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we have 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So we have 6 sides of a die. So the output of this die could either be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So if we can use a random variable to represent the outcome of rolling this die. So we can say y could either be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in this case, y is a random variable that could have any of these values. Since the experiment is random, there's probability of having any of these values. Of course, the probability of having any of these values is 1 over 6. In this case, probability of having any of these values is 1 over 2. In this case, it's 1 over 6. So anytime we talk about random variables, probability always comes into play. So this is how random variables work, and I'm going to actually stop here. And if you want to read more about random variables, you can read it up in this other lesson here. It explains it right from the scratch. So the next question, we are now going to talk about explain regression analysis. So I'm going to thank you for viewing, and also like to remind you to subscribe to my channel.